AmeriPlan salutes Jerome and Deborah Scott for reaching financial independence.
My wife and I have been selling AmeriPlan for just a few years, and our annual income is over $200,000. And we just bought a new Bentley.
AmeriPlan is looking for new salespeople to join our team. No license required, no experience necessary.
Come ride with us to financial freedom.
Start making money with AmeriPlan.
I had an event in Dallas, Texas on June the 19th. I came to a meeting that Dennis and Daniel put on with us, and right in the audience, someone introduced me to someone. And that young lady is in the room today. I want her to come on stage with me real fast. This young lady is the name of Sandra Russell. And she said, "Roger, I know you." Uh-oh. And guess what, folks? She said to me,
"You was my bus driver."
What was that?
You were my bus driver when I was in the night.
Woo! Now, I don't know if you, thank you. I don't know if you understood what she just said. She said, "You were my bus driver when I was in the 9th grade." You see, my wife and I were living in an apartment, roach, rat infested, put out every month almost. We were on the verge of being thrown out. I had no phone, no car, my bills were behind, and I'd given up on life. 14 years we lived in an apartment. Dennis Bloom embedded in my mind the ideal that you can own your own home. Julian J. Baker gave me a vision to look at. We got back in and worked the business. Members, brokers, leaders, success. In 2 years, an ideal, a belief, we went from a $150,000 home to a $250,000 home to $1 million home, and I don't even know what's in that area right now. But I'm still there. AmeriPlan, folks. They said if you work your business, commit yourself to others, you can do it. Oh, your dream is not too big. I want you to get in this meeting this month, this day, and the rest of this weekend. Listen, give it your best. There's things going to change our lives. I love this company, and I love Dennis and Daniel Bloom.
Well, hello, my name is Fatima Epson. I've been with AmeriPlan now for 18 years. I am a national vice president out of Houston, Texas. And I love AmeriPlan. Before AmeriPlan, of course, I worked at McDonald's making hamburgers and french fries. And AmeriPlan has totally changed my life, me and my family. I just thank God.
My name is Joe Garvey, and before AmeriPlan, I was a financial planner, and my wife Carol was on the midnight shift doing medical transcription, and we didn't get to see each other much. And my wife lovingly referred to me as her broke financial planner, so the money wasn't flowing like we wanted to, and we always wanted to find something that would change our lives where we could work together. I answered an ad, said retire in 2 to 3 years, selling dental plans, went to the meeting, captured the vision, joined AmeriPlan. Within 2 years, I was able to fire my boss. Within 3 years, Carol fired her boss, joined my team. With such excitement, the year Carol joined my team, we had a $90,000 a year raise in our repeat residual income. Over the last 10 years, we've been making over $250,000 a year, made over $3 million in this business, and we are so excited. AmeriPlan is amazing.
I'm so fortunate to be affiliated with this company because they're so committed, and they actually have an infrastructure. They have an organization in place that we are right now helping people. So people can call us and we can show them how they can get up to 50% off on doctor visits immediately with no waiting period. We can show them how they can save up to 80% on dental services. And the good thing about it, we have virtually no waiting period. So I love it, and I just enjoy talking with you. And I think I'm going to be optimistic and say, hey, we're going to be able to help a lot of people. But yeah, we want to hear from you. We want to be able to let you know how we can best serve you. And I think the future is bright. We want to offer people hope. And we want them to know that somebody is listening to them and somebody is working to help them.
When we meet in Chicago, I'm going to be inviting a number of the 76 members of Congress.
We call it consumer-driven healthcare. It seems to be the way of the future now, because so many people, they just can't afford the high premiums that are being charged by a lot of these insurance companies. And people know they need the coverage, but they can't afford it. And here we come with a program like AmeriPlan, where for basically just dollars a day, a person can provide protection for their entire family. So we're excited about it. The company did about $100 million last year, so it's really enjoying success.
Well, your commitment and your sincerity is brought about through your investigation and experience and the relationships you've developed with provider access organizations. So the AmeriPlan was good then, and it's good now, and it's still growing. And it was a revelation to me and a miracle that thanks to R.J. Watkins, that Mr. Scott and Congressman Conyers could be talking to our greater listening audience tonight about such a vital and important program.
It's been wonderful. It's been my pleasure. And like I say, I look forward to having many more discussions, and we're going to get something done to help the people.
I'll shake with you on that. Pleasure.
Wells, National Sales Director with AmeriPlan. I'm just so compassionate about just working with this company. I'm just really compassionate, not just with the benefits, but just with the savings that my family has actually saved. My mother, she actually just recently was hospitalized for over 3 days, and her bill came to over $14,000. And through our hospital advocacy program, it got negotiated to $0. And last but not least, about a couple months ago, I was actually in the emergency room for 4 hours and incurred a bill for over $4,000. And through the hospital advocacy program as well, myself again, I saved over $4,000. Out of pocket was $0. Thanks, AmeriPlan.
Kenny and I met was a blind date, and a friend of ours been trying to get us together for a couple of years, and it finally all worked itself out, and we met, and exactly a year later, he couldn't resist, so we got married.
But what's funny about it, though, I had about 3 or 4 other friends that tried to introduce me to a young lady, and it was Lorraine over about 3 or 4 years. Same lady. So it's just we were like destined to hook up and to get together, because it seemed like for 3 or 4 years they were trying their best to meet this young lady, and finally ended up getting together.
My background, for 25 years I've been involved in network marketing as a profession, actually as a career. And prior to that I was a computer programmer, and I'm also a motivational speaker.
Well, I was a vice president for a major bank, and I ran the operations for the United States and the Caribbean. So I was busy on the go quite a bit, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed what I did.
So I heard about AmeriPlan and about 8 years ago, and was totally sold on the benefit aspect of it, and said yes, and the rest is history. Mm-hmm. This is my 5th company in 25 years, because network marketing is a career for me, and I didn't leave those companies left me. Because they weren't solid, they weren't planning on being around, they didn't care about the needs of the salespeople that were part of their organizations, and some companies just interested in just making a quick buck and just leaving. So we were looking for a home and found a home with AmeriPlan, and AmeriPlan has truly delivered on a promise. When we first got started with AmeriPlan, we beat all company records. We got to the top position in the marketing plan, which is National Sales Director. We did that in about 120 days. 5 months later, we were at $50,000 a year in residual income. I kind of took off about 2 years or so to help both my grandparents before they passed on, and didn't do too much recruiting or anything like that. but our income jumped from $50,000 to $90-something thousand a year, based on just building the foundation within the first 4 months that I got started in the business. In the real world, there was no way possible that I've been able to do that and still keep the income coming in. Jump back in the game about 3 years later, and income went well over $100,000. Today, we're right at the brink, close to $250,000 a year in lifetime residual income. Where we headed within the next 12 months or so is probably, $300,000 a year. Over the years, I've always told people that looking for a good opportunity, that the best time to get involved in any company is within the first 2 to 3 years of its inception, during its growth spurt. But AmeriPlan is different. AmeriPlan is 14 years old, going on 15 years old, and a person still have an opportunity to be in sub-basement opportunity. Because the industry is huge, because this country is in a major healthcare crisis. We're basically ahead of a major trend that's getting ready to flat out explode with what we have here with consumer-driven healthcare. And we're truly, we always like to appeal to each and every person. Even when we got started 8 years ago, the average person probably thought, well, this is already, saturated. You can't have something saturated when people always need tea.
And what's nice about AmeriPlan is the system is clear and it's real. So the system, you just tell people to follow the system. That's what we try to get them to follow the system. It doesn't matter, what color you are, what age you are, how tall or how skinny you are, how big you are. If you come in and follow the system, it'll work. And we have a gentleman in our organization that's blind, and we tell people that he's blind. He's never seen a brochure, never seen any literature at all, but he's making income with AmeriPlan. Again, it's about vision. He has a vision, even though he's unable to see. Basically, Lorraine and I are very busy because we work heavily within the church. So Lorraine is the youth director for our church. I run the administrative of sports, basketball, and things for young people. So heavily involved with young people. So I do a mentoring program with young men in the inner city. It's important that young men stand up, and AmeriPlan is a good vehicle for them. So I always try to show them, other opportunities out there. So, and I go visit the sick in hospitals, and it's important. The elderly, unable to get out. So we go and sometimes we give them communion. We go and pray for them. We try to get them to look at some of the other things that are going wrong. If they need cleaning in the house, or maybe just a support or a team just to come and visit them. So we sit and we talk with them and we visit with them and work with them. It's so important, and they just love it to death.
I can't help everybody as much as I would like to, so I decided about 3 years ago to start a prayer line. And I said I need to direct people to where I go for my strength. And I just said, let me just start this prayer line at 6:30 every morning. And surprisingly enough, we have a couple hundred people every single morning, every single day of the week. We have a prayer line for people that's in AmeriPlan, not just in our organization, but anyone. And what ended up happening, a lot of those people invite other people on the line. And we're really seeing that God is truly blessing. And, we hear people having great success. We're there for people when people die, weddings. So it's like a family that we basically have starting off early in the morning. Right on the 18th of the month.
That's right.
We have an awesome team. Our philosophy is to make sure that, find out what their goals and dreams are, and to help them to get whatever it is that they want bad enough, because it's automatic that we're going to get what we want. So we're in the building dreams and building stories as far as our team is concerned. And we're just passionate about the people that we have on our team, because I'm convinced that every single person that comes into the business, that we literally have people's lives in the palm of our hands and their families in the palm of their hands. And just like we, able to just sleep at night and rest peacefully, knowing that God forbid something was to happen to one of us, that our families would be taken care of. That's how passionate and how desperate we feel about the people that are on our team, because we want them to have that same experience, knowing that they do not have to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be okay if they just do what they have to do today.
My name is Janie Jones, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I have 2 great boys. I enjoy being with them, but after a while, you miss your second income, and that's why I started looking for things to do on the internet. And I tried a lot of things, never had any success, and I ran into AmeriPlan. I researched them very thoroughly, and I found out they had the highest ratings with the Better Business Bureau. All the major pharmacies, all the major vision centers are with this company, and I decided to start working that day. And now this is all I do full time. I was actually able to retire with my husband, and we both work at home for this company.
I had spent probably 20 years growing a career in civil engineering here in the Austin area. And through that time, I had really reached the pinnacle of my career. There was that inevitable glass ceiling that we all reach.
I mean, he was always working. He would leave at 7 o'clock in the morning and come back at 7 o'clock at night. And, yeah, he was making some great income, but there was a price for that. I have no sales experience whatsoever. And I didn't want to sell makeup or throw parties, and I really wanted a home-based business. I loved the idea that I was able to stay home with my children and be able to do my work through the computer and through my phone. When I first started, my husband was a little bit skeptical, but I was just convinced it was a great company.
I really wasn't sure what it was. I just wasn't in the loop on what she was doing at the time.
So I did start working, and then after a while, he started seeing the checks coming in.
And it was at a national event that she had taken me to that I sort of saw for the first time what we're headed towards.
That's when he started getting really excited, and then that's when he started telling me, well, how do I get into the business? And then it was so funny because once he came back from convention, it was really hard for him to go back to work because he knew what this company was going to do for us.
And I decided then that we both really needed to focus our energies here.
And then 6 months into the business, that's when he fired his boss.
Maybe we'll get some practice in. Isn't it cute? Yeah, absolutely.
I did work pretty consistently. I took it very seriously, and I just kept on working around the kids' schedule. The neat thing about this business, I'm at home. So if I'm on the phone and the kids need me, I'm here. I can always return calls later or put people on hold if I have to. Well, I tell you what, it's just so awesome being able to stay home and generate some great checks coming in, but we're still home with our children. It's so funny because my husband and I, we go out to lunch several times a week. We don't have to ask permission. We never have to wake up to the sound of the alarm clock, and we have our life back. We're able to do whatever we want and work when we want.
A lot of the time freedom has also changed the relationship that I have with my children, and it's been just a tremendously positive impact. I'm there for them. I'm there to help them with their homework. I'm there to help them with any school projects that they have going on. If there's field trips that they're taking, I'm the dad that goes along on the field trip. I'm there with a bunch of moms, and I'm the only dad, but it's just great to be able to do that.
Michael is just a totally different person now. He is just happier. He laughs more. He spends more time with the kids, and he's more relaxed. There's no stress in his life. He loves it.
We recently bought a bass boat, and I love fishing. It's one of my passions as well. And my two boys, of course, they're all over fishing. They really enjoy that. So, when it's fishing season, we take the boat out and go out and have a blast.
Our children have their dad 24/7. That is huge for me. My dad I was working, and they have to work. Back then they were always working. So, and it's so important to me for him to be able to be home. I think a lot of us have been programmed. You get up, you go to work, and, you pay your bills, and you do that for the rest of your life. And, and here we come along and say, here's AmeriPlan. And a lot of the people just don't understand. They're like, oh, well, that stuff doesn't work because they've been so programmed to a regular job. If your dream is to be able to stay home with your children and be able to spend time with them and still generate some checks, I always tell all the stay-home moms, don't let anyone kill your dream. It does take some work, but we're going to be working. Might as well work at home with our children anyway. You don't have to wake up in the morning. You don't have to put your kids in daycare. You don't have to come back at 6 o'clock and rush dinner and spend 1 or 2 hours with your children. Once they get into the business and they realize, it's like, wow, this is really true. It's a real company. And they get really excited after that.
Neither one of us had a background in sales. Neither one of us had a background in marketing. And, nobody's going to follow you into business because you're a fantastic salesman. They're going to follow you into the business because you're able to project a vision of the future that they want. We started at the ground floor, and in less than 3 years, we have a residual income of nearly $300,000 a year. So it's never too late to be rich. There's plenty of room. Come on in and jump in.
Prior to AmeriPlan, my background is one of education. I taught school for 10 years, and then I founded an international health and nutrition company, Nature's Option. Got involved in AmeriPlan. We went to a big meeting in Detroit, and in the same row that I was sitting, it just so happened that my attorney was on one side and Deborah was on the other side. And the company had this thing called Bloom Bucks, and they distribute Bloom Bucks. And so somehow or another, Deborah's Bloom Bucks disappeared, and she accused me of taking her Bloom Bucks. So we got off to a nice start. I thought I was going to have to use my attorney that night.
He did take my Bloom Bucks. I was like, oh, you can have them. That's okay. You might need them. And I just went on. But I was very, and I forgot all about him, so he kept pursuing me. And then through one of our friends. So
it's not the dating game. We need all the extra drama.
Anyway, it was.
that started a beautiful relationship, and subsequently got married. Okay, and so we joined our forces together, and now here we are, Jerome and Deborah Scott. We mainly were looking for some benefits for a couple of our part-time employees. And we ran across the 80% brochure. And after looking at the brochure, I was quite impressed, but I didn't have the time to do the proper due diligence. So I gave the entire packet to our corporate attorney, and he checked it out, and he was so impressed, he signed up his employees. And so that kind of got me thinking. I said, maybe we better take a really good look at this. So we flew out to Dallas to sort of kick the tires, so to say. Make a long story short, the more we looked at it, the more impressed we became. It was a sound company. And so looking at the powerful infrastructure they had in place, looking at the concept, and getting a chance to meet so many successful people in the lobby and all throughout the hotel from all walks of life, we made the decision that we were going to do it. So all three of us went back and we got busy. I think my first override check was about $30-some. And of course, that's not enough to think about quitting. But, once you understand how the system works and how residual income is something that you earn over and over and over again, when you understand the power of getting paid a level commission where it renews itself at 100% each and every year, it didn't take long for me to figure out what could happen if we stayed the course. So we did stay the course. And then, like I said, in less than 2 years, it was at 6 figures. And then it just went up from there. I always tell people, if you can give this the same respect you give for someone else or another job, in a much shorter period of time, you can be much farther ahead of the game. Because with the powerful support material and the marketing system that AmeriPlan uses, if you become diligent and put in 2 to 10 hours a week minimum, you could be well on your way to financial independence in just a few short years. So I can look someone in the eye and say, you seriously should consider the AmeriPlan opportunity, because we've seen so much success, not just ours, but so many of our colleagues.
We have people from all walks of life. Actually, I found people that actually live in a corner of nowhere that I have never heard of before. And they are doing just great, because all they need to know is they want to change their life financially.
There was Jerome Forte Scott. AmeriPlan is unlike any company I've been affiliated with. I can truly say that AmeriPlan is a company of integrity. You always say you can judge someone's integrity by what they do when they don't have to do it. But the same thing can be said about a company. And AmeriPlan has stepped up to the plate many, many times. We have a number of individuals in AmeriPlan that's doing very well, but for some reason or another have challenged credit reports and would have a hard time qualifying for a mortgage or even getting a car loan. AmeriPlan has stepped up to the plate by the power of this marketing system, the fact that the residual income is guaranteed. Many banking institutions would give you points for that, and people have been able to secure huge mortgages and get automobiles at decent interest rates. It's just really been a wonderful thing. I never dreamed that I could fax over an invoice for a brand new Bentley, and the response come back, say, just ask Jerome what he wants. We'll give him whatever he wants. The next thing I know, a few days later, a Bentley's in my garage. Now that's the power of having a company that's behind this force. We felt the same way. I know we both had family responsibilities. We look after our brothers and our sisters and our parents, and there's just so many things. There's 24 hours in a day. And I always say that the success that we enjoy in life is dependent upon the decisions we make in life. And anytime you come across a situation like AmeriPlan, where they can actually leverage off your time, because with that awesome marketing system they have, if you can put in just a few quality hours per week, that can be magnified into some very serious income, just like with us, just like with thousands of people throughout the United States involved with AmeriPlan. It's the infrastructure that's in place that allows a person that doesn't have much time, but they're willing to give some quality time, we can take that and develop that into something that's absolutely phenomenal. And growing up, our family has always provided us with all the basics. I've been exposed to many different things, going to college and everything, looking at TV. We know there's a big, wide world out there, and there's so much more. And we were taught that if we work hard and go to school and get a good job, we can experience some of these things. But the reality of the situation is, we observe most people living from paycheck to paycheck. You need something to help you get through that thing I call mediocrity. And AmeriPlan has proven to be the vehicle to help so many people go far and beyond just the average. And as the records say, ordinary doesn't count in this game. AmeriPlan allows us to live the American dream. With AmeriPlan, you can dream and not be disappointed.